Hey Big Brother fans, because I love living on the edge. I've got two cats feuding, so there might be a little cat fight in the middle of this. Anyway, today is episode 3, I believe, of Big Brother 15. We open with Candace mad because she was nominated. She didn't seem like she was overly mad for some reason to me. It just seemed like, she felt like she had to act out and whatever. I guess it worked for her. Elissa was nominated as our MVP, and she immediately tells McRae, and he suggests David as the person to go up. She wanted Nick, and then they started talking about the veto and how if he wins the veto, he was going to use it to pull someone down and put her up. And she tried her best to try to talk him out of it, by saying, you nominated these girls for a reason, So what is your point for pulling them down? And that's so true. It's so good that she thought about that, because, a lot of the times, you get into that defeated attitude. And as we saw later on in the episode, that was it Helen? Helen gave her a little pep talk to try to get her out of that defeatist attitude. But to me, I think she was stupid to go and tell him. Maybe it'll be good gameplay. I'm not sure, but I certainly wouldn't have gone directly to the HOH. I would have just done my nomination and let that be that with that. I mean, everybody in the house, thought it was her anyway. But you can play a convincing game by saying wasn't me, and then just be shocked when the person is announced, etc., etc. You know what I mean? But yeah. Something that I jotted down here, it says that McRae is smarter than David, and I wrote LOL because I keep thinking he's somehow this evil genius, but then at other times you see him and he's twitchy and nervous and jittery, and it's like, he immediately turns around and he tells, who was it, Amanda, that Elissa was the MVP. I mean, come on, that is just, it was just so bizarre to me. It was just, watching this episode was just kind of like, huh, what, seriously? But I know a lot of that is the editing. I know it is. So anyway, before the veto competition, the third nominee was announced, and David was shocked and said, I don't have a clue what's going on. No, duh, really? And he got to the point where he, was saying things like, no, I don't know who to trust, this and this and that. And, he even kind of took it out on Erin, and she went off into her little corner and cried, and he came after her and said, oh, I'm sorry. And at one point he even said, can we kiss this out? Are we okay here? No, we're not okay. Are we going to at some point be okay here? Insecurities. Something interesting, because because we do have that third nominee this time around, was for the veto competition, how each person normally gets to reach in and choose their button and say, this is the person playing for me. Interestingly, because there are 3 nominees, and then of course the HOH who always plays, and they need to have 6 people participating. He reached in, was it 6 people? He reached in and pulled out the names of who was going to play. That's right, so it was Elissa and Howard. Let's see. They did a flashback, because I think it was Jeremy. It was Jeremy that was trying to say, they're still trying to figure out, I don't think it's been absolutely totally revealed yet. Has it been? that she's Rachel's sister, because he tried to catch her in a lie where she had said, I think my sister's fans will vote for me. She's a supermodel. And then she denied saying it. And then when he finally did, say, so am I nuts? Are you saying that I didn't hear this? And she said, no, I'm saying that it's not true. So she kind of backpedaled on that, and she's not being careful with her choices of words. And eventually, everybody already knows, and eventually it's going to come out, and then of course, we know where she's at right now. Nobody leaves her, nobody cares for her because she's not telling her secret, and why should she really have come into the game and said, hey bitches, grab your life vest, my sister's Rachel, right then and there. She would have the target put right on her back. Of course the target's on her back anyway because she didn't tell them. So you can't win for losing. The veto competition was called the Big Brother Baking Competition, and that America's Baking Competition or whatever, the show that's on CBS. Obviously, I haven't watched it. The host of that show hosted this veto, so that was their first contact with outside people. They had to go under a rolling pin through honey. And then they had to grab a blueberry out of some, funky dough. And the blueberry was a balloon, and you had to pop it, and each balloon contained a letter. And then you could only take one letter at a time. So when you found the letter that you wanted, you could open as many as you wanted, and then just toss the letters, I guess, back into the dough, which was like pancake syrup. Pancake mix, and then you had to go back under the slick honey and then go put it onto your little board. And you were given 15 minutes to come up with the longest word. So David, the brightest person in this competition, decides he's going to go for the word competition. So he ended up not having anything on his board. McRae ended up with the word delivery, and that made me LOL. Jesse ended up with the word tumbled. Candace went for rafts, RAFTS. Elissa went for pot roasts, which would have been the longest word if it were one word. It's 2 words. And then Howard had sailing. Once again saying that he did not try his hardest because he still wants to try to play it off that he's not a strong competitor. Now, they do these, little rehashes after the game. Is he doing that to save face? Or is he really, really trying to not do his best so that people don't see him as a threat? I'll have to say he's doing a very good job, because I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, match up, and of course, they're trying to fight to get David out because he seems the strongest outside of the moving company to be the strongest male, so they want to get rid of him. Anyway, McRae also tried to throw the game because he didn't want to have to backdoor Elissa, which I thought that was really, it was nice to hear. Did he do it for the sound bite so that if Elissa ends up going home, that she sees that, and in the end votes, if he gets to the end, in the end votes for him as the favorite player, or what I mean? Is that part of his social game, is what I'm trying to say. I liked that Elissa and Helen bonded. We haven't seen a whole lot of Helen, and I haven't done my homework. It seems that Helen is probably the oldest person there in the house, and I apologize if she isn't, but she does seem more mature than the immature group that we've been handed this year. So it was really nice to see that little part of her. I hope that they start to show a little bit more of her and her game. So let's see. Nick came in with a plan. He seems to be the head of the moving company. He seems to be the one that's calling all the plates. I'm beginning to wonder what's going to happen when they get a little tired of him trying to be bossy and stuff. But he says he has a plan. He says, don't use the veto. Let's make David go home. He's the strongest outside of the moving company. You know, he held on for a really long time. Blah, blah, blah. McRae says, no, I don't want to go against the house. I can't do it. I can't go against the house. And he kept saying things like, you know, the house will hate me. And then he was scared that the moving company was going to be mad at him when he did make his choice. And he did say that he was worried that Elissa would leave. Then we held the veto ceremony, and McRae used the veto on Candace, so he vetoed his own nomination. I never ever get this. And then he nominates Elissa in her place. Reason being, you create waves, and for the harmony of the house, if it would be best that you leave this week. And then after he says that in front of the entire house, and, you know, of course the catty girls are gonna be like, yeah, let's get rid of Elissa, you know, she's pretty, we gotta get rid of pretty faces because, you know, we're the second prettiest, or whatever catty pretty girls do and think. I wouldn't know. I'm not one of the catty pretty girls. Anyways, McRae then has another soundbite that says that Elissa is not the target this week, and that she has a lot of life left in her. So my question to you people are, do you think it's true? Do you think that Elissa is going to be able to pull this one? You know, is she going to be able to pull through this one? And if she is, do you think that David is the target? I find it really interesting that neither, you know, like if who is it, Jesse that's up, that neither one of his nominations would be going home. And right then, you know, right there is like, then why were you even HOH? You know what I'm saying? And he's McRae is allowing the house to decide at this point. And I'm hoping that at this point, you know, what he's trying to do is, this is part of his social game. He's trying to get in tight with all of these people. And eventually, I'm hoping that when he becomes HOH again, because there's a pretty good chance that this kid's going to slide through. I'm hoping the next time he becomes HOH, he doesn't allow people to tell him what to do. Because a lot of times when you see these alliances, you know, they try to stay within, and then sometimes you see these people that even though they're in an alliance, they just do what they want to do, and then the HOH. And I think that actually should be done. You know, it's like that's the privilege you've been given because you've won that competition. And yeah, so anyway, whatever, I'm just talking right now. Let me know what you guys think, okay? Bye.